See him a beast when he hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when he hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch on the champ, only me one round like yeah, me, I'm a G-Ring.
Fighting at CFFC 115 on November 18th. Please welcome amateur fighter Taylor Samarco. Taylor, how are you doing during fight week? Thank you so much.
Of course, I'm good. We just finished up the last training session of the day. Came up here. I'm actually still at my home gym, Team Taino. So just hanging out, finishing up.
Yeah, I mean, 5 days out, I see, like you mentioned, at the home gym, Taino. Where else did you train for this fight? Because I know you're like friends with Petrosky and you kind of are in with that Marquez MMA, Daniel Gracie crowd. So what's your circle like?
So yeah, I train at Marquez MMA, Daniel Gracie, and Donovan Webb's gym, Webb Fitness and MMA.
Sure.
We go over, and then I work at Eddie's gym, Team Taino, and I train here at nighttime.
Okay, yeah, I see you always holding the pads for people. So that's kind of like your thing. You're a trainer there?
Yeah. So I run the kids program, so I teach jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai to the kids and all. And then yeah, Eddie got me into holding pads probably about 3 or 4 years, like 3 years ago, getting him so I can hold for him, so he doesn't have to. He can hit with Coach John and me, right. And he has somebody to hold for him as well.
So I think you cut out for a second, but your coach is Eddie Torres, correct?
He's my main coach.
Cool. Eddie is a great fighter. He has a fight coming up. Is he 116? Is he the main event? You cut out. You're frozen. So if you're saying anything, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's the main event. I think so. He's on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you froze for a second. I just said he's CFFC 116, right?
Yeah, his fight's 4 weeks after mine. It's going to be in Atlantic City at the Hard Rock.
Right.
He was supposed to fight there last year, and just some things came. So it's good that he's getting back into it.
Yeah, we love Eddie, big favorite over there at Cage Fury. So you mentioned you train at Marquez and Daniel Gracie. You know, I mean, I was there last week doing an interview with Petrosky. That gym's insane. I mean, there's so many killers in that gym. Coach John is great. I haven't met Coach Daniel Gracie, but incredible atmosphere. I mean, what is it like training with such like high level, top notch competition?
So two of my main training partners over there are Jamie Colleen and Deanna Bennett, who are pro fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie's a 115er, so she's like the same weight class as me. I do 105 and 115, and then Deanna's 125. So it's great to be able to pick their brains. Plus, you got Pat Sabatini, Sean Brady, Andre. You got all these guys from the UFC, and they'll all like take time to work with you as well. They're good people.
Yeah. So Andre Petrosky obviously got the big dub this past weekend. Did you see it?
Yeah. So I was watching. I wish I could go. I started like cutting weight that week, so everybody was saying to stay back. But he's actually cornered Eddie for my fight.
Yeah, he's commentating the cards. That's going to be awesome too.
He's going to corner me and then go commentate the rest of it. So it'll be awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, Andre's a really great guy. I was lucky enough to get an interview with him, like I said, and he was a sweetheart. So part of training camp is the weight cut, as you mentioned. How is that going? You on weight? I know that's a miserable part of your life. So
yeah, I mean, you got to make the best out of it though. So like, even if you have some weight to lose or whatever, you get my coach, Andre, Eddie, Cameron Scalio. There's a bunch of people that are on my team that are like, they motivate you to make you laugh. So it makes that process 10 times easier.
So this is your CFFC debut, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited to fight for like, it's a great promotion. I mean, UFC Fight Pass, CM Punk, John Morgan, Andre Petrosky now.
So yeah, I've been following them for like a while. Rob's daughter's come to our gym before, so like I know of CFFC. I've been to Eddie's fought for them, Pat's fought for them, but I haven't had the opportunity to fight for them yet. This will be my first chance, and I'm glad I'm privileged with the opportunity.
Did you sign a contract with them, or just a one fight deal?
It's amateurs, like everything's one fight deal. You don't really do contracts to turn pro.
And let me ask you, because I mean, you know, Sherdog and Tapology are a little bit iffy with amateur records. What is your actual record?
MMA is 1-1.
1-1? Okay. Then they are correct. I was just making sure, because a lot of the times I'll say like 1-1, they'll be like, dude, what do you mean? I'm like 6-4. Like, oh.
I've done a couple boxing and kickboxing and stuff. But for MMA, I actually took a little bit of a layover. I haven't fought in two years.
Okay, so that was accurate on the website. So I was going to ask about that next. You haven't fought MMA in 2 years. Are you worried about ring rust at all? Or you're so active in the gym, it's whatever.
So I do train. I've trained the whole time. The problem was with COVID, as you know, they canceled all fights for a while. Then they canceled fights, and it's in general, it's been hard to get me a fight even before that. Like I would fight if you sold. I fought MMA. I think it was the summer of 2019, and I fought February 2020.
Right before the storm.
Yeah. So like there was still like a 6-month break. Like it's hard to find opponents. And then it's just hard to find opponents, especially at the smaller weight classes. I fight at 105, 115. There's not too many girls out there.
Regional MMA, especially in like Pennsylvania area, just because of COVID, I've heard nothing but like nightmares the past couple of years. So I'm glad it's finally starting to turn around for you guys because you deserve better.
And then some more girls out there in Mississippi and area that are Robin areas were able to find me somebody out there, which is nice.
Are you excited to fight in Mississippi? It's like in the middle of the country, middle of nowhere. Like, what are your thoughts?
Eddie actually fought there 3 years ago, I believe. Right? Actually, I think it was during COVID. I think it was during COVID. It was during COVID because we had to wear masks. But we took a out there and watched Eddie. And the best part about that trip is the atmosphere. Like, because you have your teammates come down with you. So you don't know anybody else. So it's a good bonding experience for your teammates and your friends. Now the food is iffy, but Tennessee afterwards if you want something.
Go get the barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, are you bringing the entourage down to Mississippi? Who's all going? So
I do have Eddie and Andre going with me, and then I have some teammates that are coming to watch it. But I was supposed to. Sadly, we just found that out a couple days ago. It's 21 plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's in a casino.
Oh, that's why.
So some of my kids were going to come down and watch, but what they're going to do now is they're going to host a party at that one house, and all the kids are going to come and watch. So that'd be pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Afterwards.
We got to get those like reaction videos on the story. Like I saw Andre's family posted one last weekend. Those videos are like, yes, let's go.
We had one of those when you heard Riley Palmer fought for CFFC a couple of times. He was training with us for a long time.
Okay.
He fought in Florida for CFFC, and we had a party at the gym for him when he was gone because a lot of people couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So that was like one of those scenes where you're like, oh. When he got the win.
That's a great vibe. I love that. And as I mentioned, you're fighting at CFFC 115 in Mississippi. Your opponent is Rebecca Rottenberry. I believe I got that pronunciation correct. What are your thoughts on her as an opponent? Like, have you watched tape at all? How have you been preparing?
Yeah, I mean, she seems like a very well-rounded opponent, and I respect all my opponents. I think she's very skilled, but I believe in my training camp and my team and myself. I've been training for years. And even though I'm not the most consistent fighter in the cage, I put a lot of work outside the cage. I train pretty consistently and I teach consistently. So a lot of people say teaching's not training, but again, if you can teach somebody something, then you can do it yourself. So because I work at the gym, I'm training and teaching all the time. I live this.
I mean, my white belt ass learns a lot from teaching my idiot friends who don't roll how to do, you know what I mean? So totally, that's training 100% in my books. How do you think you guys match up against each other stylistically, so to speak?
I think we're both pretty well rounded. That's where it's like it's going to be in the cage finding out. Like, I'm not a wrestler per se. I've been working on my wrestling though. But I'm a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've fought kickboxing and boxing. I have a couple of knockouts on my regular records, and I have a submission on my one MMA fights. Like I said, I think I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to MMA. I spent the best working with Riley Palmer and Cameron Scalio, and Riley has a twin brother Carrie that I've been working with a lot too. And Andre Petrosky on my wrestling for the past year. So my wrestling's developed a lot too during the time I've taken off.
So I was gonna say, who are you a brown belt under, if you don't mind me asking? Eddie Torres. I mean, an Eddie Torres brown belt is no freaking joke on the ground either. So that's awesome.
So I've been training under Eddie for probably like, well, I've gotten every belt under him. So it's been a few years. I've gotten my blue belt, purple belt, and brown belt under Eddie. I've been brown belt under him for at least a year, I think. He's a great coach. Honestly, he's hard on you when he needs to be, and he's motivating when he needs to be. I've known him since I was a kid too. Like I met Eddie when I was like 15 years old. I was a child.
Yeah.
So he's for me, Eddie's my mentor. He's like my big brother.
That's great. Do you have that relationship with the coach? You know, I think that's very important to be close and friendly along with killers in the training facility. Let me just ask you straight up, Taylor, do you have a prediction for this fight without giving too much away?
I hate to be like this because I do respect the hell of my opponent, and it can go either way. It's a fight, but I think I can finish her anywhere, whether it's on the ground or on the feet.
Love that answer. So, you know, you get the big dub, you finish her, CFFC is yours. You have yourself a great night. What's next? Like, I'm not talking down the line necessarily, but immediately, like, how many amateur fights do you want to get? Do you want to stay with CFFC? How do you see the next few years of your career going down?
So I'd love to stay with CFFC. I think it's a great organization. I think I know they've put in the most people into the UFC, and they treat their fighters great. Like honestly, Rob's one of the best promoters out there.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I want to get a few more amateur fights. If I can. So my goal, like I want to open up a gym one day and, you know, train and under Eddie and everything like that. And create fighters myself as well. So I want to be able to prove to my future students how good of a fighter I am.
I love that. You want to be like a Bill Algeo or a James Krause hey, they're some of the most inspiring coaches out there. So I love that for you. I mean, so let me just ask you, I know you train kids and stuff. Do they look up to you already in that aspect? Or are they already like, holy shit, my coach is kicking people's ass?
And like I said, I had 2 kids that I train a lot with. I do a lot of personals with, and these 2 kids were planning on coming down to Mississippi until they found out what was going on. They are devastated. Let me tell you. That's why they're planning on that. Their mom's like, no, it's okay. We're gonna plan this party, blah blah blah. But yeah, like I'm gonna have to send you a clip of the kids celebrating afterwards.
Please do. I'll post it all over Twitter, and hopefully people will love that and get some retweets. People kind of go to me a little bit. This might sound pretentious, but I'm like one of the only Philly MMA media reporters. So like, I love to spread your guys' stuff out there and give you guys the names you deserve, because your little circle of gyms is easily the most talented in the whole country, and people are starting to finally recognize that. So let me ask you, Taylor, you get the couple more amateur dubs under your notch. Maybe you get a CFFC belt. Who knows how it goes down? What's your like ultimate career goal? You know, like 10, 20 years down the line, what do you want to say you've done in MMA?
I got 2 because I mean, it doesn't, for me, it's not like it's just going out there and fighting and being successful with my fights. I'm not one person who's going to be like, oh, I want to be in the UFC or I want to be in one championship. Because they're both great organizations, and if that opportunity brings itself, it's how you play your cards, right?
Right.
So the hand you're dealt, and I believe I'm dealt a winning hand in no matter how I play it. What my future goal is 20 years down the line is I want to create a champion in myself and my students.
I love that. I love that answer. You're there to teach and learn and kick ass along the way. So that's beautiful. Taylor, we've been talking fighting for 17 minutes now. I'm sure you've been talking a lot about fights. Let's forget about that for a second. Put your mind elsewhere. When you're not training, when you're not in the cage, if that is ever a time in your life, I know that's that's how your life is oriented, just like many fighters, but is there a Taylor the person that's not Taylor the fighter? Like when you're not training, when you're not in the gym, how do you spend your free time? What are your hobbies and interests? Things like that.
So, I mean, I did go to college. I think I graduated last year.
Where'd you go?
At Rutgers, Camden.
Okay, cool.
So I got my bachelor's in criminal justice and sociology, double majored in that. I have not used it much. Like I said, I work for Eddie, and I work at I do another part-time job, which I can live off of that. I'm cool with that, right?
Sure.
And it's something I love. But my parents, and like I said, Eddie's like a mentor to me, so they were all insistent that I do get my degree just because it's always useful.
Yeah.
We do, and our gym, like even Marquez MMA, because a lot of those people come to our gym and stuff as well. I'm very close to Marquez and my home gym, Team Taino, and we'll hang out in the spare time, like especially not this week because I can't go out to eat right now.
Yeah.
Out to eat after practice and just hang out and like bond, and what I mean, so that's a fun pastime for me. But like, yeah, a lot of my life does revolve around just this, but I don't mind it.
No, not at all. You got a great crew to do it with too. I'm jealous. I met John and Andre last week, and I met Sean Brady too. I'm like, damn, I want to be your guys' friends. So like, I know you're a Philly girl, and you totally got either a South Philly or a Delco accent. I can't tell. I'm from Pennsylvania too. Where are you from? I don't even know your street, but like what neighborhood?
So I lived in Northeast Philly till I was 10, and then we moved to Jersey for the schools. I moved to Cherry Hill.
Okay.
So I've lived in Cherry Hill since. Uh, Here's a little story. I'm dyslexic. My dad's dyslexic, so I'm dyslexic. So the Philly schools aren't the best for that.
No.
The Jersey for that, and yeah. We train in Philly. My grandparents live in Philly. My dad lives outside of Philly in like Huntington Valley area.
Okay.
The family, I'm always in those areas.
Sure.
But I live in Jersey now.
I lived in I went to Temple, so I lived on like where did we live? 15th and Jefferson, and then me and my wife moved up to like Broad and 71st for a few years. So I was in Northeast Philly too. Rough hood, but I like that I have that little bit of Philly in me. It's not a city person, but I'm proud to call Philly my city. Are you an Eagles fan?
Yeah, so my dad's really big into Philly sports, and I was more so when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Into fighting like heavy, it's hard to pay attention to everything going on, but I do know the Eagles are undefeated, and they've been killing it this season. So. Yeah. Happy for that, and then the Phillies made it to the World Series. Last time when I was in 5th grade, it was on Halloween. We went to the Phillies parade. Mm-hmm. I was like a little kid then, but I remember skipping out the beginning part of Halloween to go enjoy the Phillies parade with my dad and stepbrother.
I think you're 25, right?
Yeah.
I'm also 25, so same memories back then. It was a good time, and I'm not into baseball now, so like I didn't really care this World Series, which sucked because like the first World Series, I was so freaking into it. But it was still cool to see the town celebrate and all that.
Everybody's excited.
Yeah.
I think Andre was talking about that. I don't know if he was talking about it when he was talking to you or when he was talking about it, but he was saying like just everybody in the city being excited.
Yeah, that was there.
Everybody more happy and excited,
Yeah, he said that with our interview. He said that it's just nice to see people talking about Philly sports rather than like Philly violence and all the other BS, because obviously we have that too. Every city does, and ours has just been highlighted a little more recently. But don't you forget it, people. Philadelphia is still a kick-ass spot. So Taylor, speaking of the Eagles, they are on. I'm going to go watch them in a couple minutes. What I'm going to give you a chance to do is you're going to have a lot of eyes on you. You're going to be on freaking UFC Fight Pass. That's awesome. So with those eyes, your fans, your supporters, your friends, and your family, what do you have to say? The mic is yours.
I just want to thank everybody for supporting me. Not only my team, but I do have a few sponsors and out of my gym that support me as well. I feel like the support is what carries me. Without my people, I wouldn't be who I am. So it's when this is an individual sport, right? But it's really a team sport. You can't do any of this without your team. And I'm very grateful for mine.
Quite the team down there in Philadelphia and Jersey. Taylor Samarco, thank you so much for your time. People, I will link her socials below. Follow her and tune in on November 18th to UFC Fight Pass when she kicks some ass and gets that amateur next gen dub. Taylor, again, thank you. Have a great night. And for real, I mean this. Get that dub and kick ass, all right?
Thank you. Have a great night.